So today we are looking at some footwork that we can do in our yoga classes for our students. And I find these are really useful both for circulation, for improving lymph flow, but also for general mobility of the feet and stability when it comes to balancing later on. And it can also just help with a bit of the peripheral neuropathy that some people might experience. So we're going to start with some simple movements. I'm demonstrating today in a chair, but a lot of these that we're about to do, you could do standing, you could do sitting on the floor, you could do lying on the floor. So let's start with the right foot. Going to extend the leg, keeping the back nice and upright. I'm going to circle the ankle, so nice big ankle circles. And then back the other way. So we want these to be as big as possible. So we're really using the muscles in the lower leg. This is what helps with the lymph and our circulation. Bringing the toes upright, check in with your back, and then pointing the toes away as you exhale. Inhale, push the heel away. So again, we want to feel that there's length down the front of the leg, length in the back of the leg, and that we're using our muscles. So as we push the heel away, we can feel this thigh working. As we point the toes, you can feel the calf muscle working. So though they're very simple movements and relatively small, we can start to strengthen the legs. And when they're done slowly to the maximum with control, you can start to feel those muscles are really working. Good. Let's keep the toes upright. And now thinking about the actual foot, we're going to curl the toes over. Stretch the toes wide. So curl the toes over. Stretching wide. And if people are struggling to make that connection with the toes, can be helpful to use the hand as well. So we make a fist, stretch the fingers at the same time, and it just helps the brain to make that connection with the movement. Let's do one more. Good. And then shaking out, coming back. And it's nice just to take a moment to pause and feel the difference between your right foot and your left. And let's come on to the other side. So leg extended, big ankle circles. So again, making that the maximum circle that you can. Particularly when we're not weight bearing through the legs, we're not going to overstretch anything. It's only the strength of our own muscles that are turning the ankle. And then come back in the opposite direction. Lovely. And again, let's point as you breathe out. Inhale, push the heel away. So feel those leg muscles are working. And your opposite leg is still active. We're gently pressing that foot to the floor to help keep the body steady. Good. Keeping the toes upright, keeping the back upright. And again, let's curl the toes like a fist, spreading wide. Again, you can try with your hand. Good. And let's do one more. And give that a little shake out. Coming back together. So hopefully feeling that they're even again. There's quite often a bit of tingling in the lower leg and the feet. That's quite normal. Good. And then from here, we can take the feet back a little bit if you're sitting and lift alternate heels. So we get a nice bend in the toes. And then we can also, when we're using a chair, again, we could also do this standing, requires a little bit more balance. We're going to come onto the top of the foot. So we're feeling the stretch along the front here and we're getting a bit of movement into the toes. So gently pressing the toes down and we're rolling through from big toe to little toe. Again, just a gentle amount of pressure. So it's feeling that nice kind of stretch, but nothing that's painful. And getting that stretch in the front of the leg. Good. Roll the toes back in the opposite direction and give that a little shake out, coming down. Again, just notice the difference between the left and the right. And again, let's come onto the left, rolling through big toe to little toe. So we're getting that opening of the top of the foot, the front of the ankle, might even feel a bit down the shins, particularly if people are quite tight in the front of their ankles. Good. Again, gently roll back over onto the other side of our toes. Give that a little shake out, or you can stretch the leg to shake out. Coming back down. And just feeling the connection of the feet with the floor and just noticing how the feet are feeling. And there's one other movement that I really like in a chair class, or you can use a chair in a mat class. I'm going to bring the ankles and the knees together and then taking your right ankle across the left knee. And it can be nice just to have a little rock here, just to help release the hips. And this is something that people will need to do with no socks, as you will discover. So bringing the standing foot so your shin is upright. And then we're taking hold of our right foot. Got the left hand, so the palm comes towards the sole of the foot. And we're going to try interlacing the fingers in between the toes. See if you can see here. So I always suggest starting with the baby toe first, because the easiest gap is between your big toe and your second toe. So we take the first knuckle of the baby finger in between your baby toe and your fourth toe, and then work that way. See if you can get all four fingers in. So we're interlacing the fingers into the foot. You can use the other hand for a bit of stability, and then we can do some ankle cranking. Again, this is something that can be done on the mat if people have that kind of hip flexibility and they're comfortable. Good. And back in the opposite direction. I find a chair is usually accessible to most people. Good. And then bringing the foot back in line, we can get a bit of movement across these knuckles of the toes here, just by bending the toes back and forth. So a little bit like we did on the floor. And it's important to keep mobility in the feet because it has such an impact in our standing posture, in the way that we walk, in our gait, in our balance while walking. It's lovely. And then you could even have a little kind of rolling twist here, so we get movement through the forefoot. Right. And then we're going to slowly take the fingers out, so baby fingers first. Lovely. And then what can be nice here as a little bit of foot massage is you take all the fingers onto the top of the foot, the two thumbs behind, starting up towards the toes, and we're going to do a little ringing movement. So a little bit of foot massage, which people often enjoy. So you can do that as much as you like. And then a nice simple thing is to make a fist with your right hand and have the smooth edge of your fist against the ball of the foot, and you can do little circles. So use the right hand for support. See if you can see here. And we're just doing little circles in there. It's a little optional extra if people like it. And you could finish by then just letting the knuckles scrape down. It's a nice thing then that people can do for themselves at home. Lovely. So let's uncross. Just straighten out that leg, give that a little shake, come back. And again, just have a pause and notice. How does that right foot feel compared to the left? I know mine's feeling quite lovely now. Right. So let's do the other side. So bringing the knees together, taking the left ankle across. And again, just a little rocking helps to release the hip to the lower back. And come back to the center. And again, we're taking this time the right hand towards the left foot and taking the fingers in between the toes. So start with your baby toe first. And it may be that not all the fingers get through, and that's fine. So if you get 3 out of 4, that's great. And let's do some ankle cranking. And back in the opposite direction. Lovely. And then bringing the foot back in line. And then thinking about getting a little bit of bend in the toes. So these joints here are often quite stiff. And it's, again, really crucial in terms of our balance and having a really healthy walk, or our gait when we walk, is that we should roll through from heel to toe. And if these toes don't bend here, then that's not possible. And it makes people completely change the way that they walk and become much more prone to falling because they're less stable standing. Right. Lovely. So let's just do a nice little rolling twist, thinking about movement in the forefoot. And when we think about it, our feet and our hands have the same number of bones. And we think about how dexterous our hands are. And for many people, their feet are not very mobile at all. So it's really useful. Good. So again, slowly taking the fingers out. Good. And again, all fingers on the top of the foot, 2 thumbs behind. And we'll just do nice little ringing motion down the foot. Do that a couple of times. Nice. And then taking one hand to support your foot, other hand into a fist, and we're just rolling over the ball of the foot. Again, that can feel very nice for people. Let's just turn so you can see the underside. And then from here, what can be a nice simple follow on is just using that line of your knuckles just to scrape down the sole of the foot. And people can do that as gently or as firmly as they like. Right. And then let's take the feet back down, bring them onto the floor. And again, just notice how they're feeling. So I hope that's given you some ideas for something you can incorporate into the classes that you teach and just really help people connect with their feet.